So welcome back. Today I am going to discuss the beta and gamma function. Beta and gamma function has many applications in multiple integral. So let us start with the definition of a beta function. It is defined as beta m comma n is equal to integral 0 to 1 x power m minus 1 minus x power n minus 1 dx. And for the conversion of this integral, let us assume m positive and n greater than 0. Only then this integral will get converted. You can see that this is your improper integral, and for the convergence of this integral, let us assume that m is greater than 0 and n is greater than 0. Now, properties of beta function. The first property is beta function is symmetric with respect to n and m. That means you can interchange the values of, you can interchange your n and m. Proof: because we have beta mn is equal to 0 to 1 x power m minus 1 minus x power n minus 1 dx. So let us put x equal to 1 minus y. So in this case we have dx equal to minus dy, and then your limits will be, if you put x equal to 0, then we will have y equal to 1, and if you put x equal to 1, then we will have y equal to 0. So the limits will be from 1 to 0. So beta mn is equal to integral. Now if you, so the limits are from 1 to 0, your x is your 1 minus y, and 1 minus x will be your y, and dx is minus dy. So let us interchange the limits. So we have 0 to 1, then this minus will become plus. Now we have y minus y power n minus 1 into 1 minus y power m minus 1 into dx. So now into dy. Now in definite integral you can change your variable if the function and limit are fixed. So we can write it as x power n minus 1 into 1 minus x power m minus 1 dx. So you can see that this is your, if you compare this definition with this one, so then you can see that this is your beta n comma m. So that means your beta mn is same as beta n. So we can interchange the values of m and n. Then we have the property number 2, which says that your beta mn is equal to integral 0 to 1, 0 to infinity, x power n minus 1 upon 1 plus x power n plus n into dx. So this is the second property of the beta function. And we can also write this one as 0 to 1 x power n minus 1 plus x power n minus 1 divided by 1 plus x power n plus n. So again this is your another result. So proof: beta mn is equal to, your original definition is 0 to 1 x power m minus 1 1 minus x power n minus 1 dx. Now in place of this x, we have some 1 upon 1 plus x. So let us put x equal to 1 upon 1 plus y. So in this case our dx will be minus 1 upon 1 plus y whole square dy, and our limits will be, now if you put x equal to 0, then you consider your 1 plus y will be 1 upon 0, and 1 upon 0 means infinity. So y will start from infinity to, if you put x equal to 1, then this will be 1 plus y equal to 1, so we have y equal to 0. So the limits are from infinity to 0. Therefore, our beta mn is equal to, now the limits are from infinity to 0. Your x is 1 upon 1 plus y power m minus 1. Your dx is minus 1 upon 1 plus y whole square dy. This is your dx, and 1 minus x. Now from here 1 minus x will be 1 minus 1 upon 1 plus y power n minus 1. So this is equal to, now if you want to interchange the limits, then this minus will become plus, so we have 0 to infinity. Now this is your 1 plus y minus 1, so we have y power n minus 1. And in the denominator we will have 1 plus y power m minus 1. Then here we will have 1 plus y power 2. Then again from here we will have 1 plus y power n minus 1. So this is equal to into dy. Then this is equal to 0 to infinity y power n minus 1 upon 1 plus y power m plus n into dy. Again, if the function is fixed and the limits are unchanged, then we can write it as this way. Now, using the first property, which is your beta mn is same as beta nm, that means we can interchange our m and n. So if we can interchange our m and n, then this will be equal to x power m minus 1, 1 plus x power m plus n dx, because beta m comma n is same as beta n comma m. That means we can interchange the values of m and n. Okay. Now this is the proof of the first part. Then we have to further break it in two parts. So for that, we can write this integral as, this is equal to 0 to 1, x power m minus 1, 1 plus x power m plus n. Then we can write it as 1 to infinity, x power m minus 1, 1 plus x power m plus n. Say this is your I, and the second integral is I1, where my I1 is 1 to infinity, x power m minus 1, 1 plus x power m plus n dx. Okay. Now let us put x equal to 1 by z. So in this case your dx will be minus 1 upon z square dz, and your limits will be, so if you put x equal to 1, your z will be 1, and if you put x equal to infinity, then we will have z equal to 1 upon infinity. So this is your 0. So therefore your I1 will be 1 to 0, x is 1 by z, then we have 1 plus x, and then dx. So this is equal to, now let us interchange the limits. So we have 0 to 1, 1 upon z power m minus 1, 1 plus z power m plus n, then we will have 1 upon z square, and this power will go in the numerator, so we have z power m plus n. So this z power m will get cancelled with this one. Now this is minus 1, this is your plus 2, so we have plus 1. So this is equal to, integral 0 to 1 z to power n minus 1 upon 1 plus z power m plus n dz. Now again, let us replace our variable by x. So we have this term. Therefore your I1 is this one. So our original integral will be, so the value of this beta m will be, put the value of I1 here. So we have integral 0 to 1. So this is your x power n minus 1. This is your x power n minus 1. And your denominator is common, so we have this thing. So this is your result. Then coming to the third property, your beta mn is equal to 2 times 0 to pi by 2 sin 2n minus 1 theta into cos 2n minus 1 theta d theta. So this is your beta mn. Proof. Because we know that beta mn equal to integral 0 to 1 x power n minus 1 1 minus x power n minus 1 into dx. So put x equal to sin square theta. So if x equal to sin square theta, then your dx will be 2 sin theta, and the differentiation of sin theta will be cos theta and then d theta. And your limits, if you put x equal to 0, then we have theta equal to 0, and if x is 1, then your theta sin theta will be 1, so we have theta equal to pi by 2. So your theta will vary from, theta is from 0 to 1. So this is equal to 0 to 1, your x is sin square theta, so we have sin square power m minus 1, 1 minus sin square, then power we have minus n minus 1 into 2 sin theta, cos theta, and then d theta. So this is equal to, the limits are from 0 to pi by 2, not 1. Okay. 1 minus sin square is cos square. So the power will become 2m minus 2 cos 2n minus 2, and 1 power is here. So this is equal to 2 times 0 to pi by 2. So we will have sin 2m minus 2 plus 1. So this is your 2m minus 1 theta. Then similarly we will have cos 2n minus 1 theta into the theta. So this is your property number 3. We can further simplify this one with the help of the definition of gamma function. So let us define gamma function. It is defined as gamma of n equal to integral 0 to infinity e power minus x, x power n minus 1 dx. Again, for the conversion of this improper integral, our n has to be greater than 0. Only then we will say that this gamma n is finite or convergent. So properties. The first property is gamma n plus 1 is your n gamma n, and it is equal to factorial n. This is your very important formula known as the reduction formula of the gamma function. So proof. Your gamma n is equal to 0 to infinity e to power minus x, x power n minus 1 dx. Now we need the value of gamma n plus 1. So for that, replace your n by n plus 1. So we have gamma n plus 1 equal to integral 0 to infinity e to power minus x, x power n into dx. Now we will apply the by part integration. For that we will differentiate this term. So this is equal to integration of e to power minus x will be minus e to power minus x into x power n. Then we will have limits. Then we will have minus sign. And then again integration of e to power minus x will be minus e to power minus x, and differentiation of x power n will be n x power n minus 1 into dx. Now the first limit. Okay. Now if you put x as infinity, then this will be your e to the power minus infinity, which is your 0. But there is a problem, because if you put x equal to infinity here, then this will be of the type 0 into infinity. So let us find out this limit. And for the lower limit we have x equal to 0, and as this power is positive, so if you put x equal to 0, then this will be your 0. So again the upper limit will be your 0. I am giving the region in the bracket, and here we will have the low limit at 0. Now this will be your minus minus plus, then in the bracket we will have integral 0 to infinity e to the power minus x power n minus 1 dx. Now your upper limit, that means when your x is infinity, we have this type of term. Now we can write it as x power n upon e to the power x. So if you put x tends to infinity, then this will be your infinity. Again we have e to the power infinity here, so this is your infinity upon infinity. So for that we will use the L'Hospital rule. So differentiate the numerator and the denominator n times. So the n time differentiation of x power n will be factorial n. Then the differentiation of e to the power x will be e to the power x. Now in the numerator our x has been removed. So now if you put x tends to infinity, then this will be your e to the power infinity, and e to the power infinity is 1 upon infinity. E to the power infinity is infinity, so we have 1 upon infinity, and it is equal to 0. So that is why our upper limit is 0. So we have the value as n times integral 0 to infinity e to the power minus x into x power n minus 1 into dx. So that means you can see that your original gamma n plus 1 was this one, integral 0 to infinity e to the power minus x power n into dx. Now after one time by part integration, we have n outside and the power is reduced to n minus 1. So after one time of by part integration, here we can see that n and the power as n minus 1. So again after reduction we will have n into n minus 1, and now the power will become n minus 2 by reduction. So continuing in this way, we will have, if we continue in this way, then we will have n minus 2, then finally we will have n minus 1. So this will be your 1, and in the bracket we will have 0 to infinity e to the power minus x, and then x power n minus n dx. So this is your 1 into n, so we have factorial n. Now this will be your x power n minus n, so this is your 0. Now integration of e to the power minus x will be minus e to the power minus x upon then the limits from 0 to infinity. Now your upper limit is 0 and lower limit is 1. So this minus and minus is plus, so we have this one as factorial n. So your gamma n plus 1 is factorial n, and if you see this equation number 1, then this is your n and this bracket is gamma n. So by 1 and 2, therefore by 1 and 2 we have gamma n plus 1 equal to, this is your n into gamma n, and this is further equal to factorial n, and this is further equal to factorial n. So you can see that the value of gamma 4, if you put n equal to 3, so the value of gamma 4 is equal to factorial 3, gamma 5 will be factorial 4, gamma 2 will be factorial 2, gamma 1 will be factorial 0, and gamma 0 is infinity because it is not defined. Okay. Now what about the negative numbers? We can also write gamma n as gamma n plus 1 upon n. We can write the value of gamma n as n plus 1 upon n. Okay. And in the second time, if you further apply reduction, then the gamma n plus will be n plus 1 into gamma n plus 1. So we can have the value of gamma n plus 1 as well. Now we can define gamma n for those values of n for which this equation was not defined. Please note that this equation was defined for n greater than 0. Now we can define this equation for n less than 0. So if now it is defined for, now say this has to be greater than 0. So n plus 1 has to be greater than 0. So your n is greater than -1. So it is defined for your n greater than -1, n less than 0, provided that we have the values for your this one. So now you know that this gamma n is defined for n greater than 0. So if your n plus 1 is greater than 0, that means if your n is greater than -1 and less than 0, that means for the step of size 1, then we can define this gamma for this negative number, provided that this gamma is defined for the higher 1 unit step. For that means when your n is greater than 1 and less than, when your n is greater than 0 and less than 1, if this value is given, then we can define your gamma n for this number. Now we will use this definition when we do not have the integer value of n. So if your n is half, then here we will have gamma 3/2 and here we will have half gamma half. So we can have the value of gamma 3/2 from here, which is your half gamma half. As your gamma half is root pi, so your gamma 3/2 will be half root pi. So let us evaluate the value of gamma half. So this is your first property. Now we have before that, let us prove the property. Your gamma n is equal to integral 0 to 1 log 1 upon y or n minus 1 dy, or if you want to write it as x, then we have this thing. Your gamma n equal to integral 0 to 1 log 1 by x whole power n minus 1 into dx. So for that, because we have integral 0 to 1 e power minus x into x power n minus 1 dx as gamma n. So put your x equal to log 1 upon y. So from here our 1 upon y will be e power x. So you can say that your y is e power minus x. So we have dy as minus e power minus x dx. So you can see that e power minus x into dx will be your dy. Now about the limits, if you put x equal to 0, then we will have 1 and this is your infinity. And if you put x equal to infinity, then we will have e power minus infinity, so it is 0. So the limits will be, therefore your gamma n equal to, for x equal to 0 we have 1, for x equal to infinity we have 0. Now e power minus x into dx is your minus dy, and then we will have x power n. So log 1 upon y power n minus 1 into dy. Dy is here. So interchange the limits. So we have 0 to 1 log 1 upon y power n minus 1 into dy, and again in differential integral we can change our variable. So this is your n minus 1 into dx. So this is the value of gamma n when your limits are from integral 0 to 1. Then your third property, is your gamma n upon k power n is equal to integral 0 to infinity e power minus kx into x power n minus 1 into dx. So this is your third property. Proof is very easy because your gamma n is equal to integral 0 to infinity e power minus x power n minus 1 to dx. So let us replace x by ky. So if you replace x by ky, then your dx will be k times dy. So therefore your gamma n equal to integral 0 to infinity, our limit will be fixed, because if you put x equal to 0, our y will be 0, and if we put x equal to infinity, then our y is infinity. So we have e power minus ky into ky power n minus 1 into k dy. So this is equal to k power n integral 0 to infinity e power minus ky into y power n minus 1 into dy. So from here we have gamma n upon k power n equal to integral 0 to infinity. Now you can change your variable. So this is equal to this one. So this is your definition for gamma n if you change your variable x by ky. Okay. Then next property. Then we have the next property. Here so before that, let us prove the value of gamma half. Note your gamma half is equal to root pi. So let us prove this value. Gamma half is root pi. Because we have the definition of gamma n as integral 0 to infinity e power minus x into x power n minus 1 into dx. So let us put x equal to y square. Then we will use the help of the multiple integral. That means we will take the help of the change of order of integration, and with the help of that we can have the value of gamma half as root pi. So if your x is this one, then from here we will have dx equal to 2 times y into dy. Now your y is, so this is my x, so put the value of x here. So we have gamma n equal to integral 0 to infinity, so we have e power minus y square, and the value of x is your y power 2n minus 2, then your dx is 2y dy. So this is equal to 2 times integral 0 to infinity e power minus y square, then we have y power 2n minus 1, and then dy. So this is your gamma n. Put n equal to half. Put n equal to half. So if you put n equal to half, then we have gamma half equal to 2 times integral 0 to infinity e power minus y square into dy. So this is the value of this integral. Again, the value of, if you know the value of gamma half, then vice versa we can say that the value of this integral 0 to infinity e power minus x square dx is root pi upon 2. And this is very important integral, and its value is equal to root pi upon 2. In that case, when you know the value of gamma half, here I am calculating your gamma half, so we will take this integral. Similarly, if you write the variable as x, again we can write gamma half as root 2 times integral 0 to infinity e power minus x square into dx, because we can change our variable. Now if you multiply these two equations, hence your gamma half whole square will be equal to 4 times, now this is your integral 0 to infinity e power minus x square dx, then we have the integral 0 to infinity e power minus y square dy. Now as your limit are constant, so we can interchange the limits, or we can take the limits here. So we have our x square plus y square dx dy. Now let us reduce this double integral in polar coordinates. For that, let x equal to r cos theta and your y equal to r sin theta. So your x square plus y square will be r square. Now here we have the integral x from 0 to infinity and the integral y from 0 to infinity. That means this is your first coordinate. Here our x is from 0 to infinity. Again your y is from 0 to, here we have y as 0 and then this y will move from infinity, 0 to infinity. So this double integral represents the whole first quadrant. Now if you change it in polar coordinates, then let us take this strip. So here you can see that your r will be 0 to infinity and your theta, the value of the theta will be from 0 to pi by 2. So now if you change this double integral in polar coordinates, then we have this one equal to 0 to, now the value of theta will be from 0 to pi by 2 and your r will be from 0 to infinity. Then here we will have e power minus r square and the value of dx dy will be because we have transformed our Cartesian coordinates in polar coordinates. So with the help of the Jacobian, this dx into dy will be your j times dr d theta, where j is the Jacobian of x y with respect to r theta. So this dx dy will be your r into dr d theta, because our dx dy is equal to j times dr d theta, where j is known as your Jacobian of x y with respect to r theta. I have already defined the Jacobian in my previous unit, so you can find out the value of j as r. So this dx dy is r times dr d theta. Now if you take r square as t, then this will be your r dr will be your dt, so this will be your dt by 2. So this is equal to 2 times 0 to pi by 2 and then we will have e power minus r square, then limits from 0 to infinity, and then we will have d theta. Now this upper limit is 0. Again we will have a minus sign, because if you take r square as t, then this will be e power minus t. Integration of e power minus t is minus. So for the upper limit the value is 0 and for lower limit we have 1. So this minus will be plus. So this is equal to 2 and then integration with respect to theta. So again it is pi. Therefore our gamma half whole square is equal to pi. So from here the value of gamma half is equal to square root of pi. So this is your gamma half. And if you put the gamma half here, then we have a very standard integral, which is your integral 0 to infinity e power minus x square dx is equal to root pi upon 2. Okay, this is your value of gamma half. Now let us establish okay. Now with the help of note, because our gamma n plus 1 is equal to n gamma n, so from here we have the value of gamma 3 by 2. So your gamma 3 by 2 will be your gamma half plus 1, so it is equal to half gamma half, and your gamma half is root pi, so this is your root pi upon 2. So gamma 5 by 2 will be gamma 3 by 2 plus 1, and gamma 3 by 2 plus 1 will be equal to 3 by 2 into gamma 3 by 2. So this is equal to 3 by 4 into root pi. Then we have the value of gamma 7 by 2. This is equal to gamma 5 by 2 plus 1. So we have 5 by 2 into gamma 5 by 2. So this will be 15 upon 8 root pi, and so. So we have the values of gamma 7 by 2, gamma 5 by 2, gamma 3 by 2 and gamma half from this integral. Okay, now let us establish a relation between beta and gamma function. we have beta mn equal to gamma m into gamma n upon gamma m plus n. So proof. Again we have proved that in my previous slide I have given that gamma n is equal to 2 times. We can also prove it again. So it was e power minus x square into x power 2n minus 1 into dx. In the proof of gamma half, I have already given this result. So our gamma n is equal to 2 times integral 0 to infinity e power minus x square x power 2n minus 1 into dx. This was our gamma n. Similarly, your gamma n will be 2 times 0 to infinity e power minus y square y power 2n minus 1 into dy. Now, if you multiply these two integral, our limits are constant, so we can write it as e power minus x square plus y square. Then we have x power 2n minus 1, y power 2n minus 1 into dx dy. Okay. Now let us again solve this double integral with the help of the polar coordinates. So put x equal to r cos theta, y equal to r sin theta. Then from here our x square plus y square will be r square, and your dx into dy will be r times dr d theta, and your limits will be from your r will be from 0 to infinity and theta will be from 0 to pi by 2. So this is equal to gamma n into gamma n. Now this right hand side will be 4 times integral 0 to pi by 2. Then we will have 0 to the value of r will be from 0 to infinity. So we have e power minus r square. Your x power x will be r cos theta power 2n minus 1. So we have r cos theta power 2n minus 1. Then we will have r sin theta power 2n minus 1. And then your dx into dy will be your r dr d theta. So this is equal to 4 times 0 to pi by 2, 0 to infinity e power minus r square. Then we can write it as the powers of r will be from r power will be 2n minus 1 plus here we have 2n minus 1 y is 2n minus 1. So the power of r will be 2 times n plus n. Now this will be your minus 2 plus 1, so we have minus 1, and then we will have cos power 2n minus 1 theta, sin power 2m minus 1 theta into dr d theta. Now we can write this double integral as 2 times 0 to pi by 2 sin power 2m minus 1 theta into cos 2n minus 1 theta into d theta multiplied by 2 times integral r from 0 to infinity e to power minus r square, then r power 2n plus n minus 1 into dr. Okay. Now I have already given the value of this integral. This was your 2 times of sin power 2m minus 1 theta cos 2n minus 1 theta d theta was your beta mn. This was the value of beta mn. Now this integral. Now if you take, so okay, now see this equation. With the help of 1 you can guess the value of this integral 2 times 0 to infinity e to power minus r square, then r power 2 times this n plus m minus 1 into dr. So with the help of 1 we can write this one as gamma n plus m by 1. So therefore beta n m comma n, your left hand side was gamma m into gamma n. So we have gamma m into gamma n upon gamma m plus n. So your beta mn is equal to gamma m into gamma n upon gamma n plus 1, gamma n plus n. And this is very important result. and it gives a relation between beta and gamma function, and with the help of this relation we can have many deductions. So we have some important deductions. The first one is the value of this integral 0 to infinity sin p theta cos q theta d theta is equal to 2 gamma p plus 1 by 2 gamma q plus 1 by 2 upon 2 times gamma p plus q plus 2 plus 2 divided by 2. So this is equal to gamma p plus 1 by 2 into gamma q plus 1 by 2 divided by 2 times gamma p plus q plus 2 divided by 2. No? We already know that the value of beta mn is equal to 2 times 0 to infinity sin power 2n minus 1 theta cos 2n minus 1 theta into d theta. So put 2n minus 1 equal to p and 2n minus 1 equal to q. So from here our m will be p plus 1 by 2 and our n will be q plus 1 by 2. So therefore, and the left hand side is, and your left hand side is gamma m into gamma n upon gamma m plus n. Now your right hand side will be 2 times 0 to infinity sin p theta cos q theta d theta. So put the values of m and n. So we have integral 0 to infinity sin p theta cos q theta d theta equal to half gamma p plus 1 by 2 gamma q plus 1 by 2 divided by gamma p plus q plus 2 divided by 2. So this is our property. This is our important deduction from this formula. Then next deduction, your gamma n into gamma 1 minus n is equal to pi upon sin n pi. Again, this is very important result, and it states that your gamma n, product of gamma n into gamma 1 minus n is equal to your pi upon sin n pi. So proof, because your beta m comma n is equal to gamma m into gamma n divided by gamma n plus n. So from here, now we have the value of beta mn, which was your integral 0 to infinity x power n minus 1 into upon 1 plus x power n plus n. This was your definition of the beta mn, and this is equal to gamma n into gamma n upon gamma n plus n. Now, if we put m plus n equal to 1, then our m will be 1 minus n. So in the left hand side we have integral 0 to infinity x power m minus 1 upon 1 plus x dx equal to gamma n into gamma 1 minus n. Now, here the value of this integral is equal to pi upon sin n pi, and it can be easily proved with the help of the conjugate integration, that means with the help of the residue. So I am not giving you the proof of this integral. So as we have the integral 0 to infinity x power n minus 1 upon 1 plus x into dx is equal to pi upon sin n pi. So we have gamma n into gamma 1 minus n equal to pi upon sin n pi. There are many methods to prove this result. We can prove with the help of the factorial notation, we can prove it with the help of the conjugate integration, and this is equal to your pi upon sin n pi. Now, if we put n equal to 3 by 4, so if you put n equal to 3 by 4, then we have gamma 3 by 4 into gamma 1 by 4, or put n equal to 1 by 4. So we have gamma 1 by 4 into gamma 3 by 4 equal to pi upon sine 45 degree, which is your 1 by root 2. So this is your pi root 2. So we have an important result from here, which is your gamma 1 by 4 into gamma 3 by 4 equal to pi root 2.